The Coliseum Magnet. Coliseum and Oracle Arena, a 50-year-old venue that once hosted many significant sports events and performances, is at the crossroads of its unknown future when the home teams are leaving. In our design, we envision the future of Coliseum to be a place for living, working, education, and recreation. We are left with many vacant lots, and we want to create an array of open spaces as venues to support activities, no longer for the people paying to see a match or a concert, but for its existing and future communities. Here, the heart of Coliseum Magnet is to connect the neighborhoods and activities through landscape. We design a network of green space to create corridors through the infrastructural barriers between the bayfront, the Coliseum, and the community in the back. We program the venues to honor the history of the site, accommodate varied activities, and create a unique experience for its visitors. We link the existing community to the waterfront through a green loop as part of the Bay Trail, and we use green streets to connect the two creeks that demarcate the site. Not only will the open space create opportunities for civic interactions, but they will become more accessible to the people living nearby and inherit the identity of the communities. So, how is the landscape designed? The landscape is shaped by the steep environmental challenges Coliseum is facing in its near future. First, there is sea level rise. In the next century, the industrial waterfront of East Oakland will be completely submerged by the bay within 6 feet sea level rise, with Coliseum being affected first. To address that, we use the Interstate 880 as the back of a horizontal levee, which essentially is an engineered levee with extensive marshland to protect it from erosion in the front. However, the rising sea will also push the underground freshwater up, which will raise the groundwater level. Again, most of the Coliseum and the industrial surroundings are susceptible to the rising groundwater and are vulnerable during major flood events. We dig ponds at the spots with highest groundwater level to allow for space for water to rise, and we use extra soil to raise the middle island to be high enough. We design the open spaces floodable zones and to efficiently capture and clean runoff before they reach the water body. As a result, despite the differences between the open spaces, most of them both bear social and ecological importance. In the recognition of losing inhabitable land to the rising water, we also incorporate architectural strategies to adapt to the situation. The ponds can be used to test aquatic housing typologies such as flats on deck and floating houses. The idea has been realized in a well-known project in Amsterdam. Phasing is the key to the realization of a 100-year master plan. We propose to take advantage of the public transit hub to kick off the project, followed by securing the site with environmental defense and leaving time for the landscape to evolve, before constructing the new community on the Coliseum Island. When the water rises higher, the aquatic housing will be introduced. The following drawings shows the performances of landscapes and its connection to the built structures and infrastructures. This is a typical waterfront space with a green open space, or the loop, in between the flats on the water and on land. The flats will be equipped with wastewater reuse system, and the living machine will be incorporated as part of the green space. This is a mixed-use residential block with no waterfront green space. Alternatively, a freshwater marsh will be restored on the edge of the pond to remediate the water quality and provide habitat for wildlife. This is the junction where the marshland and the levee meets the Interstate 880. We propose to keep the highway at its current level to minimize the interference to its use. As the levee cuts off the connections between the bay and the creeks, the water will be pumped out to the bay during extreme flood events. Here, we want to connect the transportation hub to Coliseum Island with a unique pedestrian experience. The skywalk leading to Coliseum will enhance the view to this memorable venue. The green berm between the railway and the pond will buffer the noise and the polluted runoff from traffic. Since the groundwater will rise over time, the landscape we envision will change and evolve just like the architecture and the community do. The ponds will start as a greenway and over time become an aquatic pond as water rises. Eventually, we hope to use the landscapes to define the future of the Coliseum. The landscapes are the magnet that draws the existing community, the growing population, the jobs, the education, the recreation, and the social life to Coliseum, a place that is once out of touch for its surrounding communities. Yes, the water is rising and it's a big issue, but what we need to remember is, water can create disasters, it can also harvest life.